one day, the pain just becomes unbearable, and you decide it's better to just put those feelings away, distancing the people around you, and not being able to take care of yourself. All this pressure slowly builds up until the peak where your head pops. When you wake up, you meet Shopkeep, who flirts for a bit and gives you the iconic yellow jacket, rabbit ears, and mask. So, when you start off as this, you get a very basic kit. You get an AK-47 and a pistol. Unfortunately, you don't have any special ability, so there's nothing really you can do in terms of like snail movement or shed melees. We quickly start off taking out all the enemies there, the cherry, the slime guy. What we're trying to do here is we're trying to like make good speed while not like trying to get hit. But since it's the early floor, we don't have much of an issue doing that because it is easy. We do encounter the beggar here, which is really good, which gives us like a lot of money, which is just really beneficial. I don't understand why we couldn't go faster there, but having the beggar allowed us to go to the shop and get the damage up, which greatly increases our speed. And we get the last aid, which isn't really a good gun if you don't want to like die quickly. Like it uses your health as ammunition. But for Magnolia, since we got the damage buff very early, like we're able to beat it before she even has a full cycle, which is really good. We pick up the Ray, and we're gonna use the last, I don't know, last chance, last shot. No, last resort, in order to get more money from the beggar. Now, we do this because in runs, it's always beneficial to have a lot of extra cash, even if you don't directly benefit from having all that extra cash, right? The reason is you don't know if you're gonna get hit in the later floors, so might as well have it as like a little reassurance. Like, look, right there, just got hit. Even though I did get a heart like immediately after. Like you never know what's gonna happen. Right? So it's always better to like have something extra. And always to be able to afford the damage upgrades. See, I get hit. Keep on being careless. But yeah, the second floor is really nothing hard at all. Like the main thing is the overlaying enemies, which isn't a big deal for us right now. We continue to move, get hit some more because of course we do. Yeah, look at that. Sorry, I'm just trying to get this out. But yeah, again with the overlapping enemy attacks and me just not thinking as well. Right? Like I could have handled that way better. But yeah, we get the damage and the health up, you know. And instead of going forward, we decided to backtrack to the devil lady. What she allows us to do is she allows us like to play a little mini game for us to gain more cash, and like the higher score we get, the more money we get, which is really good for us because, you know, the more the better, right? You know, we're moving around quickly, like not playing like how I did Snail last time, until we just decide to go full melee without shooting. You see how ineffective it becomes? But yeah, we don't get that high of a score. I have no clue what we were doing there. But we still get way more than we had before. Like 12 coins, which is a pretty sizable amount, given how the game is. Now here we actually run into a meat hook, which does no damage. And since we're not playing Snail, actually has a higher detriment to us than a benefit. Now for the tank twins, instead of just bashing our heads, we're going to want to wait for a Mel to actually come close to the tank to ran, so we can continuously smack them. Yeah. But yeah, instead of like just continuously bashing Mel, we want to keep her to the right side of the screen as much as possible, because it's just better to have everything under control, and we're able to easily just get rid of her like by the time she finishes her attack cycle. Now for Rand it's pretty easy, you know, nothing hard. And then here we actually get the TV, which is really good, you know, it's the title of the video. So what does the TV do? well, it summons a bunch of little Miis. Now, this is like a big question, like, why do you need those little Miis? They travel so slow. Well, it's actually a big thing where, like, I don't know, it's kind of how balancing works, right? Like, if you have a gun that fires very quickly with a lot of ammo, it's gonna have to do less damage to be balanced. And a gun that fires slowly with less ammo to do more damage to compensate for the lack of ammo. However, because of the speed of the bullets, well, of the mini Miis, I guess, it actually like has a big damage pool to start off with, and it just is great, especially for later bosses, since later bosses are more stationary than normal enemies, which is why we're mainly using our pistol on this floor rather than later on, right? And like it'll come into play like very shortly. But for now, we can't really make much use of it because what is it gonna do against that flaming turnip right there? Or here, where we have to like just like be wary of like everything that comes at us, right? But yeah, we're able to get the damage up. I said. But yeah, we just quickly wrap up the rest of these floors. You know, it's really nothing too difficult. Though the tankiness of the enemies can sometimes be underestimated. And this is a fight where the TV has really good potential to shine. As you can see, we're already pre-firing it a bit and like able to get good damage on the boss. And because of the way the shots work, we are actually able to fire it off really well. And they linger for a bit. Like Lady Stradivarius isn't the best example on how to use it, but it still works really well here. Like if we had more damage on it, we would have been able to one cycle her, right? Because normally, like, optimal time for me is like a little less than 3 cycles. No, a little more than 2 cycles, more specifically. But yeah, we were able to finish that way quicker than normal. Even though we won't be able to get the achievement for beating it like that, just, oh well. Here we do find the fountain, which gives us an extra HP, you know, the more HP the better. Now for here, this area in particular, we do want to be more careful about how we handle it, because the TV is good here, but it's not the end-all be-all. For now, we can see that it just does decent damage to the enemies around us, even saved us from getting hit there by the pink jello. And over here, it could be useful. Well, it is useful, but since it's mostly a single target, it's mostly for like bursts of damage, like after a delay, rather than like actual constant damage. Like look right there, like it takes a while for it to actually register or well get to the enemies and deal damage. So which is why I mostly switch to the pistol for this part. Now if I were doing a different run, like trying to fight a redacted boss, I'm not gonna spoil that, I would, well, like, okay, and I mess up there. I just ruined my train of thought. But yeah, it's actually really useful for a boss like that, where your main priority is just avoiding their attacks, like at all costs. Because like, if you're trying to constantly not get hit by a boss, it's pretty hard to not get hit by the boss. But yeah, here we upgrade our TP to do more damage than before, which really helps out the process of finding the last bosses. Since especially for Yomi Phase 2, I prioritize survival more than damage because I'm still not prepared to deal with her, right? Here we find the, you know, little, I don't know, I forgot the name of that. But again, I get hit because I do not know how to play the game properly, you know, I just suck. Which I guess that's that. But yeah, we're able to just easily like finish most like enemies that like rush at us quickly with like 1 or 2 melee swings. All the enemies that need to be dealt with in range are dealt with like that, which is, you know, pretty easy. Don't know why it's so hard to kill 3 ghosts. But yeah, we finally get damage up and a heal, and you know, preparing for the mini boss rush at the end of this. So here we run into Yomi, and this is where the TV really gets to shine. Like you just empty it all out, and then the damage just starts rolling in, right? Of course, we do have to like move away from Yomi because like she is like a really annoying boss to deal with. But yeah, the damage just like stacks up like a ton. Like right, we should have been like way behind the amount of HP we currently have her at. But it just proves to show how good this really is against bosses like Yomi. But yeah, we're gonna end up getting hit like one more time because apparently we don't know how to think very well. And then yeah, we just wait for a bit for Yomi to attack. You know, trampling on Yomi, bruh. Huh, I wonder where I've seen that before. Then of course, now that was the easy part of this whole debacle. Now we're getting into the actually difficult part. So what we're gonna do here when we get up is that we're gonna rush into the corner and just start launching it. Since whatever we fire doesn't immediately touch her, we're able to like save so much loaded damage to get to her. Like just look at them all bouncing. We have to like of course be careful to dodge everything that she throws at us. Right? Though of course we're able to like make good use of movement here. Of course I timed my dash wrong. I don't know what I was doing there. But yeah, it's mostly about timing and like how you choose to handle it, because if you see an attack, you should prepare to get out of its way. I have no clue why I'm just dilly-dallying this much, right? And getting hit this much when the attacks are like super predictable when they come. Especially the knife throws on this phase. This one, you know, is a bit more challenging to dodge because it's multiple layers. But we're able to like barely get hit on that and stampeding her and get her heart back. Of course, we have to wait for this little cutscene to end before we get into the real final boss, which isn't too difficult compared to this, you know, and redacted boss. I mean, of course we can start pre-firing. I'm pretty sure the damage does count if you pre-fire it. But, or I'm not sure actually, because like Yomi's second phase, it's really just like you have to wait for her to lose her invincibility. But yeah, they're able to just barely bounce enough to reach the corpse's chin. Of course, we get hit there. I'm not really sure how to pass that. I mean, this fight is really easy in comparison. Like, everything is just super duper choreographed. Like, when he comes to you, you move away. It's that simple. I don't know why we're messing up so much. But it's best to just wait for the attack to go near you and then dodge out of its way rather than like dodging it immediately, because it actually allows you to, you know, not die quicker, right? Because some attacks do have an overlap, and just like that we end up beating Yomi. Right here I turn on my microphone, but it's not connected all that well. Bro, are we dead ass? Yeah. My mic wasn't connected this whole time, bro. Oh, that's just kind of, this is just cute. Damn, bro, this is sad. Oh, wow. After finally making out of the rabbit hole, you decide to go home after a tiring chain of events. Regaining your heart and looking at your calendar, it's about to be New Year's. Maybe you could reunite with the people you left for the New Year's. Who knows?